equipment, all at the lowest cost.
We welcome you to New Hyde Park, New York and New Hyde Park High School. Today, Verizon Fios One Sports brings you Long Island High School girls soccer. It's a terrific non-league showdown as the Manhasset Indians, county finalists from a year ago, coming in at 1-2-1 of the season, 1-0-1 in league play, paying a visit to the Gladiators of New Hyde Park in at 2-1 and 1-1 in league play. And with that, hello here to New Hyde Park Memorial High School, alongside former Deer Park coach and now current Deer Park coach, Carrie Gluck. I'm Ralph Bednarczyk. Well, Carrie, for these two programs, they have both been among the most improved in Nassau County and across Long Island in girls soccer. Manhasset, first ever county finals appearance last fall. New Hyde Park, consecutive 9-win seasons. They're also on a great upswing. Two programs that expect to be in the playoffs this year.
Well, I think they have every reason to have those high expectations, Ralph. Both teams are really veteran teams. Manhasset returns 15 players from last year's team. New Hyde Park returns 11 players from last year's team. So they are clearly a veteran team for both New Hyde Park and for Manhasset. The difference I see between these two teams, New Hyde Park is a very technical team that likes to possess, move the ball around. Manhasset, on the other side, is a team that uses a number of players. Their depth can very well become a factor. They play 19 young ladies in the game, and they bring with them the physicality that many of them had as players on the state championship, Manhasset state champion lacrosse team. So I think you're going to see an interesting combination of a skill, technical ability versus physicality from Manhasset and an aggressive style of play.
And one of those carryover players for this Manhasset program, she won a state championship in girls lacrosse, was a major part of that team. Caroline Mondiello, she's a 3-year starter here. She plays the left back and is dynamic in the fall.
And very effective as a defender. She's big, she's got great size, and she is tough. And that's what they love about her on the defensive end of the field. She matches up well. She's able to win balls in the air. And the physicality from lacrosse carries over right onto the soccer field for Caroline.
And for New Hyde Park, they were already rising as a program, but they received an additional reboost to their chances this season when they learned that senior forward Julia Aronov, a player already long verbally committed to Rutgers, she decided she's going to return to New Hyde Park to play for her home school district. She played academy last year. What a welcome re-addition she is.
Well, any coach would love to have Aronov come back and play for them. 2 years ago, as a sophomore, all-county, scoring 19 goals, number 4 scorer in the county as a sophomore. She has 4 goals at this point. She has a tremendous shot. She is a gem of a player, Ralph. She is a player that every coach would just love to have. She played for the academy team for Albertson last year, which is why she did not play for New Hyde Park. Now that she is back, she is going to be a force to be reckoned with by the Manhasset defense.
We are looking forward to this one. They've played the last couple of years, including a playoff battle. It's Manhasset and New Hyde Park getting reacquainted again. We're coming back with the starting lineups and first kick next on Verizon Fios One Sports.
I remember, Dad, you and Mom got this car with a hatchback. I said, I'd be happy to give you the money to get a really great car. And he said, well, no, this works for me. I says, why? Because it's the right height to put the meals in. Dad, tell me when you first got an inkling about Meals on Wheels.
There was kind of an abandoned house. That's where we got started with Meals on Wheels. We kind of filled a need for people as they got older.
It's the human interaction that probably fed them much more than the food.
Oh, yeah. When you can see somebody else benefiting by your life in some way, you can't help but feel good about it, I think.
Well, the reason I'm involved, Dad, is because you are, and you're so inspiring. How you've impacted people is enormous.
Drop off a warm meal and get more than you expect. Volunteer at americaletsdolunch.org.
America, let's do lunch.
Advice for my beautiful daughter. Start the day early. Be confident with who you are. Fill every moment and make time for what matters. When you're strong, share that with others. When you're weak, let people help. And finally know that I will always, always, always look out for you. Just as you look out for me. Remember that I love you dearly, and you mean the world to me.
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. This is what they do.
Get down! Get down!
They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives.
Without your Coast Guard, my family wouldn't be here today.
It's dangerous work. Sometimes in our own backyards, sometimes far from home. We're the Coast Guard Foundation. And in times of triumph or tragedy, we're here for them. The Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. We provide education, support, and relief for our defenders.
You want somebody to have your back, and the Coast Guard Foundation has always had our back.
Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
Wonder if you should get tested for colorectal cancer?
Yes. Is it really that common?
It is. Of cancers affecting both men and women, it's the second leading cancer killer in the U.S.
But I don't have symptoms.
It doesn't always cause symptoms, especially early on. So don't wait. If you're 50 or older, it's time.
But it doesn't run in my family.
Most often, colorectal cancer occurs in people with no family history. And think about this. Screening helps prevent the disease.
Really? How?
Screening helps find precancerous polyps so they can be removed. Remove the polyp, prevent the cancer. Screening helps find colorectal cancer early, too, when treatment works best.
Oh, man, that test.
There's more than one screening test. You have options. Talk to your doctor to find the one that's right for you. Because colorectal cancer screening really does save lives.
Welcome back to New Hyde Park. Long Island High School girls soccer from Nassau County. Manhasset visiting New Hyde Park with Carrie Gluck. I'm Ralph Bednarczyk as we introduce our two teams. Manhasset making the road trip here. Let's introduce their starters today. And the Indians will play out of a 4-4-2 alignment with Mondiello and Taylor the outside backs. Trotta and Tierney Harmon the center backs. Dooley the holding mid with Themelis and Lane outside, and Cruz will be the center mid with Ellie Taylor making her first start and Kendall Sims at forward. In goal, it's a first-year starter in net, the 5'9", Erin Trotta, also a lacrosse star. She'll play lacrosse at Wesleyan in Connecticut, Division III level. 32 saves already, been very busy, including 10 last time out against Garden City. Under head coach Chris Keene, who is taking this program to unprecedented heights. He's in his 6th season, taking the program last year to the Nassau County Finals. He is a Port Washington product where he played soccer and baseball, also the longtime varsity baseball coach for the Indians. And today for New Hyde Park, as they play out of a 4-5-1 with Bouzos and Langen, the outside backs. Corrigan and Mosseri will be stopper and sweeper. Quijada and Pappas the holding mids, with Fager and Poulos being the outside mids, and starting at center mid, Julia Aronov and Nicolette Caneda will be up top at forward. In goal for New Hyde Park, she's a 2-year starter. Here's Andrea Waldron, who's come up through the New Hyde Park Wildcats travel program. 4 saves in all 3 of her starts so far this season. Busy last year with 116 saves. And the head coach in her first season is Megan Carey. She's a Delphi product out of Island Trees High School. Spent the last 4 years as the JV girls soccer coach at Massapequa. So Carey ahead of this matchup. Let's have a look at your Verizon Fios One Sports keys to our game.
Well, for Manhasset, they've got to get strong play from Erin Trotta. You know that New Hyde Park is going to take their shots, and with a shooter like Aronov, they're going to be shooting from everywhere. Team depth, that's a strength. I think that could be a factor today. They go 19 deep on the bench. New Hyde Park, they've got to move off the ball that is really what Coach Carey is trying to emphasize. They've got to play for 80 minutes. They've played a couple of matches right now where they've given up goals late in the game, leading, pointing to the Bethpage game, up 2-0. They give away 3 goals at the end of the game. They got to put it together for 80 minutes.
So on an overcast day, it is New Hyde Park in the Navy on Navy. They have the ball first, white on white for Manhasset as we play on this grass field at New Hyde Park. Kevin Wren and Jim Swanson doing the honors. New Hyde Park has yet to play a game here, Carrie. That's one of the little wrinkles to this one, with it being a very busy sports day at New Hyde Park. The field hockey team has first dibs today on the football field. So does the football team practicing. But New Hyde Park has practiced here throughout the preseason, so it should be a slight adjustment.
I think that's going to be a major adjustment, having not practiced for quite a while on this turf, especially now because it is a little soft. It's been wet as a result of the heavy rains that we had Tuesday night. It still has not dried out.
Ellie Taylor carried forward and taken back here by New Hyde Park's Andrea Buzos. She is the left back, and the offsides flag is up. Well, New Hyde Park comes in at 2-1, but as Coach Megan Carey said, we were so close to putting together a better performance against Bethpage. Otherwise, they'd be undefeated at this juncture. They had a 2-0 lead in their second game of the season. So that is something that they're still trying to get back to. And closing out, as we talked in our keys, putting together a full 80 minutes. And we'll find out if that will happen today against a good Manhasset program.
Well, in that Bethpage game, Bethpage scored 3 goals on them in 30 minutes. And it was attributed basically to the fact that, as Coach Carey felt, they just ran out of gas.
The right back, Caroline Taylor, up ahead for her younger sister, Ellie Taylor. Ellie's the youngest of 4 Taylor girls that will play for the Manhasset girls soccer program and eventually lacrosse. And she gets the start today. She came off the bench a few days ago against Wantagh and scored 3 goals. As Manhasset put a 5 spot up for the first time, ironically also against Wantagh back in the 2015 season that they last did that. Dawson comes, and Kelly Trotta. And Kelly Trotta off the feet of Nicolette Caneda out of the 4-5-1. She's typically would be the lone forward, unless she alternates with Julia Aronov, that of course we'll see play all over. Corrigan to chip in. And out wide, some space for Aronov, as Aronov inside the box. Rather able to get out wide, then this opportunity, stop made by Trotta, then it's redirected back towards Trotta. That was actually the left midfielder 5, Jillian Fager, that was able to get with. It cannot be cleared as Trotta is out of goal, and New Hyde Park's Marina Pappas shooting wide.
I like the decision by Pappas. She saw she had Trotta out off her line, looking to put it right back in. But look at this attack on the left flank. It looked like it might be Aronov who might have been able to get that ball across. Or maybe it was a Fager, one or the other out on that far side.
It was 5, yes.
But 14 playing this right side here, Poulos was really in excellent position to be able to perhaps play that ball back, and she looked to try and heal it, which is creative. I like the opportunity to be creative in that offensive third.
Manhasset will toss it in, so the game's first dangerous chances belonging to New Hyde Park. Jillian Fager had a goal in the opener at Floral Park, had the shot with Erin Trotta, who has had consecutive double-digit save performances as Manhasset just came off of a tie on September the 17th against rival Garden City, 1-1, and then that 5-1 victory over a quality program, Wantagh, where it sounds like it's lopsided, but Erin Trotta had to be special in that game. She was credited with 13 saves. Here's a ball for Aronov. And Trotta will allow her defense and Tierney Harmon to play it to the corner.
See, that ball that was just played is just a direct through ball looking to send Aronov. And that's a tough ball if you have a defender who is giving depth, Ralph. That's a tough ball to be able to connect on. And I always try and tell players, or my players, not to make a straight-ahead ball for a straight-ahead run. You make a straight-ahead ball for a diagonal run.
Sam Corrigan, good toss in. Aronov to try to bring it down, try to chip it, and does. On the second effort, just a little flick as the ball came up for her and settled for one of Long Island's top finishers. Julia Aronov has her 5th of the season, beating Erin Trotta.
What a nice opportunity for New Hyde Park, and give credit to Julia Aronov. She does a very nice job. She takes the ball here. I thought she might look to head it, but she plays it with her right foot and takes it over to the left side and finishes it with the left foot. And again, I think Trotta has to be a little bit more aggressive in there and come off and take that ball. It looked like it was right at the 6-yard box, and I would like to see the goalkeeper take control of that 6. And you see, again, this right flank play has been pretty successful so far for New Hyde Park.
A good cross by Maria Poulos. She is just a sophomore. Started the season at center mid for Coach Megan Carey, and already a 2-year starter. So the goal by Julia Aronov comes in the 5th minute, and New Hyde Park strikes first. Aronov that season as a sophomore, boy, was she dynamic with 19 goals, 7 assists. And Coach Megan Carey still getting to learn about her, but someone that can hit the upper 90 from 30 yards out, and now is a known entity, as former coach Kim Teensma mentioned to us a couple of years ago, Carrie. Everybody's going to know her name by the time she's a senior, and that has happened.
Well, yeah, absolutely. When you have a player who's the number 4 scorer in the county as a sophomore, you know her name is going to be well known. The thing I would be worried, I'd be curious as a coach, is to see how quickly she relates and develops with the team in terms of the chemistry. Having not played with them last year, she's 2 years removed. She doesn't play on their club team, so she is coming on as almost as a stranger, so to speak. They know her, but she hasn't played now for 2 years. So you really wonder how quickly she is going to adapt to their style of play.
As Megan Carey noticed, and certainly the skill is certainly there, but she's felt that her teammates expect the ball to be in certain areas. They know it's coming there. And also growing up in the same town, of course, is going to help, as Aronov thought that the run was coming from Poulos. And it swept up the sideline. But certainly high school teams change so much from year to year.
But right there was an indication as to the lack of communication. Aronov thought that Poulos was going to go for it. Poulos thought that Aronov was going to go for it. And what I've also noticed from our initial lineup, Aronov was going to be playing in the midfield. However, she is really now more up top, and she has freedom to go where she wants. But she seems to be well settled in the up top for New Hyde Park.
Manhasset trying to just gather possession. This is sophomore Nicolette Caneda, so she has dropped back into a center midfield spot. As back to get it is Tierney Harmon, and she's stepping in for last several years graduate Lauren Ferraris, one of the best players Chris Keene said he's ever coached, and one of the anchors of the Manhasset success that they've had, especially in the last 2 years, with a semifinal and finals appearance. Both were program firsts, as the ball came up for an inadvertent handball.
Now, what I think Manhasset is going to have to be very conscious of the fact that Joanna Morsheri, as the sweeper, is playing very deep behind the back line of New Hyde Park. And so, therefore, I think that they are going to have to really be conscious and make a very concerted effort to get the ball wide and not play the ball up the middle of the field, because Morsheri is going to just eat everything up if they do that.
She's been the rock back there for New Hyde Park, a 4-year starter. Kelly Trotta. As Caneda knocked it down, Sophia Quijada. A good ball, try to spring. Poulos out wide. Poulos with a good cross, and there it is. It's tucked in. It's Aronov. Terrific finish. What a ball from Maria Poulos. And New Hyde Park has 2 in the opening 10 minutes.
I love the effort by Poulos down the flank. She got to that one right on the end line and served a beautiful ball that was just full volleyed right in by Julia Aronov. 2 goals for Aronov early on. That gives her 6 on the season. Look at that volley, side volley. She handled it with poise, with confidence. And look at the service, an excellent ball being served. Now, if they were playing this on turf, that ball's out of bounds, Ralph. She's not getting to that one in time.
Well, they've made the adjustment 2 for Julia Aronov. This one comes in the 9th minute, as here comes Manhasset. As sweeping that play up is the aforementioned Joanna Mosseri. As Kaneda drops it in. And some room for Poulos again. Poulos. And looked for a runner off ball. That was going to be Fager. And it's handled here by Erin Trotta. So New Hyde Park, they've scored 8 goals coming in. But they had allowed 7. They've been a very good first half team, as we noted in our keys. And as Megan Carey said, you know, we look really good coming out for 50-55 minutes. They've been running out of gas, but certainly you could see what they are capable of when they're playing at full potential.
They have been very dangerous so far, Ralph. They have really dominated. They've been in the offensive half to the offensive third of the field for most all of this first half up to this point. This is really the first sustained offensive opportunity for Manhasset.
This is Kendall Sims, and Kendall Sims at the edge of the box. Her shot is blocked, and she's a 3-year starter. Sims, big improvement from last year, now a 2-year captain, and one of the mainstays for this Manhasset program with a goal and assist this season. And for Chris Keene, as he talks about the change in the soccer-centric players, her dad, Mike, Carrie, you know really well.
Mike and I go back a long time when he was coaching at Harbor Fields, and when I was head coach over at Deer Park, we always arranged non-league games with one another. Michael's a great guy, and it was a loss having him stop coaching, but I know he got a lot of pleasure out of watching Kendall develop as a young player into where she is today.
Deep tossing coming up for New Hyde Park as they keep up the pressure. So the service by Maria Poulos, her second assist of the season. That was a dandy. This time Fager chipping towards Trotta, and Trotta losing it for a second, but we had the whistle. Hold on a second as New Hyde Park began to celebrate, but the official had blown it dead.
I think they're allowing that goal.
He has not pointed to midfield, though.
He stopped the clock. But I think based on what they're doing, it looks like they're allowing that goal. It was mishandled by Trotter, and you saw New Hyde Park just capitalize on that. But what a tremendous throw-in. That was a great throw, and here's the mishandling. Now, I don't know. I thought initially they were going to call Pappas, I believe that was, to run into Trotter to dislodge the ball.
That's a goal in the 11th minute, and normally you see the official point to midfield. That did not happen. So we're going to assume that Marina Pappas gets her first of the season, a verbal commitment to playing at Division II Queens College. She's in her 5th year on the varsity, and that's now 3 goals in a 6-minute stretch for New Hyde Park. Kaneda. And Pappas. And this one chipped away, and our producer and director today, Dan Lippenholz, makes a good point that the whistle we heard may have been from the field behind us because there is field hockey practice taking place. As this ball out wide for Poulos.
Oh, nice little cutback.
Poulos cuts it across. Trotta making the save in tight.
But Erin Trotta's got to hold that one, Ralph. She made the save, but she really almost gave up a rebound.
And then in front for Aronov, who gets a touch as Olivia Dooley trying to stay with her, and it'll be a corner for New Hyde Park.
Here again, they're having a lot of success out wide, and there you see Poulos. But watch the shot. See, that gives a little bit of a rebound, and look who's right on the doorstep, and that, of course, is Julia Aronov, who might have been able to notch her third if she was able to get a foot on that one, but yet it still did result in a corner kick, the first one of the afternoon, I would believe, for either team. So a left-footed corner. It's going to be a little bit of an in-swinger.
Andrea Bouzos with the service. Kelly Trotta trying to clear for Manhasset. The Trotta twins, well known for being multi-sport athletes at Manhasset. Erin Trotta in goal. Kelly Trotta, a 3-year starter at center back. Deep throw coming up. Erin Trotta was honorable mention All-County back in the spring for her play as a defender.
Oh,
flick
look at
on
that
there
little flick
by Aronov, and Poulos right into Aaron Trotta.
That was a great flick on to Poulos. Poulos really didn't have a whole lot of angle. Her better choice, I think, would be to try and cut it back and see if they can get Aronov into a position or an oncoming midfielder.
Sims, and she runs into the right back, Mary Langen, a new starter this season for the Gladiators. As it's been all new Hyde Park, with Manhasset making a pair of substitutions. Fortunate for Coach Chris Keene, they are extremely deep this year, the deepest team he's had in his 6 seasons, as he'll make a couple of subs to the midfield and the offense. As we'll see senior midfielder Haley Rolfing come on as an outside midfielder, and a forward sub in sophomore Emma Toes. As Ellie Taylor exits, and so did right midfielder Allison Lane. So a couple of moves just to jumpstart things for Manhasset.
Well, they do normally go deep into the bench, Ralph. They go 19 deep. So this is not unusual for Coach Keene to be able to make a number of substitutions at any point.
And a takeaway here, Olivia Dooley. Trying to go to the feet of Sims. And the play broken up by Manhasset's holding mid, sophomore Sophia Quijada. Space for Maria Poulos. And the follow-up will get an inadvertent handball against Manhasset. So it'll be a great spot for a restart.
Boy, you are seeing really early on, New Hyde Park is just exerting a tremendous amount of pressure on Trotta and the Manhasset defenders. And I'm not surprised to see Aronov over the ball. And she has got a rocket kind of a shot. So I would certainly think she's going on net on this one. She's not looking to play it to the back post.
Aronov well within her range and puts it into the upper 90. 3 goals in the first half for Julia Aronov. And New Hyde Park is rolling.
And I think that Erin Trotta really has to anticipate any time that Aronov has the ball that she is going to take a shot. Now, on this dead ball, it's clear she's going for the net, and that ball again was well taken by New Hyde Park.
Well, for Aronov, in her bio is already well accomplished, playing as an 8th grader, but especially this past summer playing for the North Carolina Courage, coached by Long Islander, or recent Long Islander, Paul Riley, who is the coach there of the North Carolina Courage, but also is the director of the Albertson Fury Soccer Club, and that's where Julia had been playing academy soccer growing up, and then especially last year with the new controversial rules of academy soccer, where you had high schoolers have to choose between playing for their teams or playing and practicing for the academy, especially well debated on the boys' side. Last year was the first year we saw it come into effect on the girls' side.
And that's a travesty to prevent someone from playing with their school teams. Sorry to say.
And we saw that.
I'm not so sorry to say.
We saw that impact Massapequa, especially last year. They had 3 players that sat out, but Aronov was in that boat before she decided that she wanted to come back and play for her school team. They had to put out the proper paperwork and file for a waiver. And what a difference a great player can make, and also to close out your career playing for your hometown team.
Absolutely. And giving credit to Julia, certainly, as a member of the Eastern New York ODP regional program. So she plays at a very high level.
And someone that has big goals. Back as an 8th grader, she got to meet and play with the great Alex Morgan off the U.S. women's national team during a camp in Brooklyn. And the games that she dressed for, Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, more known on the men's side, and Olympique Lyonnais in France. And she was, while she didn't get on the field in those games, but she still got to dress and practice with players like Heather O'Reilly, for example, that's been a long-time national team player. So what an unbelievable experience of a lifetime.
Absolutely.
Before you turn 18. Good ball chipped ahead by Aronov into space, and the shot just deflected wide. Sophia Quijada with the chance as Manhasset's defense able to get a touch.
No, but what a nice ball played in by Aronov. A little chip gets it to the feet of Hyde, and unfortunately for New Hyde Park, Sophia did not play it quick enough and allowed the defenders to close down the space.
Good work by Andrea Buzos there defensively for New Hyde Park. And Aronov the other way, and New Hyde Park, another good ball, but this time the offsides flag. Their shots have almost all been on goal. 3 goals from Aronov and a couple of terrific services that have led to them.
Here you see the last opportunity. See how quickly the defenders closed down, because that was a little bit slow. How to get an extra touch on the ball, allowing the defenders to close the space.
Room for Kendall Sims as she tries to go to the outside. And that's out of the reach of Ellie Taylor. Let me check that rather. That's 20, Maria Themelis on the outside. Meanwhile, Andrea Waldron, not much action. But along with Joanna Mosseri, the 2 leaders of this New Hyde Park defense. Manhasset last year pitched 8 shutouts. So this is unusual to give up 4 in this opening half. As we get time called with an injured Manhasset player. As they check the knee of a Manhasset forward. And the Indians have had their share of injuries already in this preseason, despite their depth. So as we check on the injury, but Manhasset coming off of a breakthrough season, the best in program history, reaching their first ever Class A final. Seniors like Ava Albanese in goal, Lauren Ferraris, who's now sailing at Boston College, Olivia Wesch now playing at LIU Post, Hallie Palmedo at Division I UConn was a 4-year starting forward, and Lauren Martelli making up that bunch. They got hot at the right time, finishing 8-7-3. But they defeated Southside 1-0 in a semifinal and then lost to the 1 seed North Shore 4-2 in the A final. And as play resumes, we saw Olivia Dooley being helped off the field for Manhasset, and she was favoring her right knee. And she is a 2-year starter at holding mid. As Dooley is being checked on, a verbal commitment to USC for lacrosse. So we wish her the best here. It is such a tight window carry for the soccer season. Your playoffs begin around October the 15th. It's about less than a 6-week season, truly.
You're right, Ralph, and that's, I've said this more than once, and it's all due to the fact that the state tournament is what all the schedules evolve around. And to me, it's the tail wagging the dog. And, I think that we compress our schedules. We play 3 games in weeks. We play 4 games in 6 days sometimes. And we put a lot of these young players, I think, at risk for playing so many games. And unfortunately, as a coach, if you lose a good player and for an injury at any one time, you could have them out for almost 25% of your season.
And Manhasset dealing with that, especially as on the topic of Olivia Dooley leaving. They are playing without Brianna Stolzheimer today. As Chris Keene says, we need to rest her. She's been dealing with some things. She's a first-year starting center midfielder. And they're already without Casey Roscoe. And we'll get to that story, I think, later on. But Casey Roscoe was a 3-year starter, headed to Drexel for lacrosse, the lacrosse star. So those are key elements already before the midway point of the season that Manhasset is fortunate that their depth is able to carry them through those things.
You're absolutely correct, and their numbers and their depth have been very important to their success. Nice little pullback.
As Sims able to get around Sam Corrigan. Kendall Sims to goal, and this shot blocked by Mosseri. Kendall Sims on it again with a good cross. That is eventually off the body of Marina Pappas of New Hyde Park to get the clearance as we are midway through this opening half. The clock you see on the scoreboard, by the way, is unofficial. The 2 referees on the field have the exact time remaining. 4-0 New Hyde Park, including 3 goals in a 9-minute span. And we'll get 3 more subs on for Manhasset. So more wholesale changes for the Indians to jumpstart something with still a lot of time left.
Oh, surely there is. Both teams have really made some wholesale changes. Even New Hyde Park has changed their whole front line, taking out the very prolific Aronov as well as Poulos. They're out of the lineup right now with the 4-goal lead. I don't blame Coach Megan Carey to look to try and get some of these other players some game experience.
From Manhasset, Amy Royer has come on, a junior, as has Nicole Garvey, and junior forward Nicole Polano. So they have already played, looks like 6 off the bench through the midway point of the first half. And good ball out wide here for New Hyde Park is also Aisling McGrath, a junior backup forward, has come in for the first time.
And New Hyde Park continues to attack the width, especially on this right side, looking to see if they can get something in behind the defense on the right. They have really used the left very, very little up to this point, Ralph.
And a nice job to break the play up there for Manhasset. And Nicole Garvey in as a holding midfielder. The Indians have come in scoring 6 goals. They've allowed 6. The explosion came against Wantagh just a week ago. Space out wide for Brasido Buzos, who's also in for New Hyde Park. And she and twin sister Andrea, who's a starting left back on this New Hyde Park team. McGrath applying the pressure. It'll be a Manhasset toss-in. All New Hyde Park in this first half. The team with consecutive 9-win seasons, but that has a lot of great history, and that's what added to all the optimism once Julia Aronov decided she will come back and play for the team. This had been building up the last several years. As Kaneda's pass knocked down. And back to get it, sophomore Megan Riley, who's come in at right outside back for Manhasset.
That was a nice step by Andrea Puzos on the far side, Ralph. Playing that outside left back, she took her step forward, challenged the ball, winning it, and now got herself into a little bit more of an attacking position for New Hyde Park.
And Buzos herself is back, now 2 years removed from a torn ACL. Was on and off as a starter last year, looking for her best season as Tierney Harmon the clearance, with Manhasset on their heels from the opening couple of seconds. And we'll get some more subs for New Hyde Park as Samantha Coop will be one of the players as Coach Chris Keene looks on. His team had been very competitive. I mean, coaches will go through this. His team just put up 5 on Wantagh, a good team, and he's on the other end of it now.
Yeah, you have the ups and downs without a doubt, Ralph. But I think they ran into a red-hot early New Hyde Park team. The Gladiators were ready. And I also believe that there was a little bit of a factor of the time. I don't think the Manhasset team, having come as late as they did, had a real good warm-up. I think they were flat coming off, off the bus, and almost they were still on the bus legs. They hadn't gotten warmed up, and I think New Hyde Park just took it to them early.
And Quijada. And meanwhile, New Hyde Park, a little bit of an abbreviated one themselves with the boys JV team getting the practice field. There's a lot going on today in New Hyde Park, so time was precious. But the Indians came in returning a lot of players that can still have a very strong season. As Chris Keene says, now our strength is its expectations. He's been harping to his team that, look, last year maybe people thought we were expecting to have a little bit of a drop down because it was the senior class that was so good last year. And now there's a bullseye on them. And he wants them to prove that last year wasn't a fluke. And they only graduated 3 seniors that played starters minutes. So the bulk of this team is there. And he points to so much how you have so many lacrosse carryover that winning a state championship, that pedigree, and going through those experiences and being battle tested, he thinks is absolutely translated to the success that Manhasset has had here in soccer the last couple of years.
I agree with that totally. You cannot teach that. You can't coach the success of a state championship.
Poulos tried to play it across. It was knocked away.
Unfortunately, she was playing it across to nobody. She didn't have runners in the box for New Hyde Park. So she really didn't have a whole lot to be able to do with that except to perhaps pull it back and look for trailing midfielders that were coming through. But coming back to Manhasset, the success that they had last year, and they did lose 3 starters, but certainly one of them that was very essential was an all-state player, Laura Ferraris. So you lose an all-state player, that also really takes a little bit of a toll. Tough shoes to fill, Ralph.
Yep, and Hallie Palmedo, and she was hurt most of last season. But Palmedo, she came back healthy for the October stretch run and now playing a lot at UConn. So some significant players that these Indians players won with and now look to replace and find new production from. Julia Aronov back on the field for New Hyde Park. Nicola Caneda. And Caneda at the edge of the box.
Now, I noticed they brought back, as you just pointed out, Aronov, and when they brought her back onto the pitch right now, they're not moving her forward. They're keeping her much more central now in the midfield, and I'm sure that Coach Carey would have told her, really hold your runs and not necessarily to attack because, we're up 4-0. We don't need a lot more goals. We don't need more goals. We really need now to work on our defensive end of the field.
And we'll get a foul and advantage called. We're back on the other end of the field. But that's what makes this New Hyde Park team dangerous. They are playing at a conference AB3 this year. There are 3 leagues that are Class A schools or B schools, the smallest, and that's based on ability. Manhasset is in the top league, and that's all voted on going back to last December, though. So much can change, of course, when you reacquire a player back into your district the way New Hyde Park did. That certainly changes the balances.
Changes the complexion of things for sure. And recently, Suffolk girls did the very same thing, Ralph. They went now to a power structure among their leagues as well.
And we've seen that in Nassau County on the boys' soccer side and for a long time in girls' lacrosse. Bouzos. Yeah, looked to lay into some space as Manhasset subbed Kelly Trotta back onto the field.
Now, one of the things I see now, Ralph, too, if you look at the field, Manhasset has 2 players up at the midfield. Look at the gap between their midfielders and their forwards. It's a huge gap, and they really are going to have to bring back some players to help get the ball out of that defensive third.
Bouzos looked to get the ball into the 18. And the Indians have had very little possession in this opening half. Samantha Bravo also on the field for the first time, a senior outside midfielder for New Hyde Park.
One of the things, too, we talk about the power structure and how Manhasset is in AB1 versus AB3 for New Hyde Park. In this game, as it starts, there is more pressure on Manhasset being in that top league to come away with a W today, as opposed to New Hyde Park, who says, I got nothing to lose. I'm in the third AB3, and everything to gain if I can beat an AB1 team. So they come in a little bit loose, as opposed to Manhasset, who has a little bit more pressure on them to try and come away with the W.
Yeah, at least on paper, the way it looks like. But I'm not so sure, Gary, if the players may necessarily pay a whole lot of attention to it, or do you as a coach want to let them know exactly what the hierarchy is?
Oh, I absolutely would, say something to my players to let them know. This is a chance for us to make a statement. This is an opportunity for us to show that we are a competitive team with the AB1s.
Yeah, the AB1s, usual suspects, programs like Southside that's won the most state championships out of anybody in New York State. Wantagh, North Shore, last year's county champs for the first time, and with Calhoun dropping in. Then there's a middle AB2, which we're not showing, and then AB3. So there will be some movement between conferences based on what coaches lobby, who may graduate huge classes, who may be looking better than the year before. And that, of course, goes into what schedule you play. And that's why they call it an ability-based league. But people like it because it creates even better competition, less games that are lopsided. Maria Poulos.
A nice little scissor move.
Kelly Trotto is now playing at a holding mid spot. A verbal commitment to Marist for lacrosse. What a season Kelly had back in the springtime. Good ball service, but there is Joanna Mosseri again to clean it up.
Yeah, Manhasset might also think about, I know there's still certainly some time. We'll look at this steal. It's a one-on-one.
Maria Poulos. Poulos back to her left foot and couldn't get a lot on it as Kelly Trotto was able to recover.
Now, that was a nice little steal there by Poulos, and she had an opportunity to go in one-on-one. Took it to the left foot. I give her credit for taking it with the left foot. There's the cut to the left, and now she'll look to try and get it with her left foot. Just clearly doesn't hit it as she would have hoped. But what I was making reference to just a short while ago is I would think that Manhasset might even think about pushing up a player and maybe getting a player up on to Mosseri to get them up a little bit higher and stretch them.
Kelly Trotto, as we touched on, an all-county season of the spring, led Manhasset during their state championship run, scoring over 50 goals. Already a two-year starter on the attack that will play at Marist. And tough in that sport, varsity basketball conference. And we'll have one of the rare opportunities to be all-county in 3 sports by the end of the year. They think that much of her here in soccer as a center back. Andrea Bouzos to the feet of Aronov, who has 3 of the 4 New Hyde Park goals. As Bouzos makes the overlapping run.
Nice ball played. Here's the service.
Erin Trotta able to hold the pipe there with some traffic in front.
She does a nice job in her positioning, but again, she didn't hold it cleanly. She gave a little bit of a bounce to Trotta, but that was a nice ball played in again by Aronov. She does a nice job, and she really makes the players around her better. Here's the service coming across, and that's the defender attacking. That's Bouzos. And again, Trotta has to hold that one.
Meanwhile, following the Manhasset foul, this is within Aronov's range. 40-yard opportunity, but you would like to have done better with it. She had a runner through the middle.
Yeah, I'm not sure that she was looking to take a shot there or she was looking to play the ball through the middle. She's pretty far out for any high school player to take a shot on goal from where she was, and I think you would be generous saying 40. I think it was closer to probably 50 yards out.
She heads out for Marina Pappas. All the goals coming in the first 12 minutes. And just as New Hyde Park got settled into the game, Manhasset has been able to at least level it a bit, making a lot of substitutions, trying to jumpstart things. And a good ball into some space. look to go out wide for Angie Macchio, who's come in for the first time. 8 in white. And a deep throw coming in as Alexis Powers will get the throw off the flag. As Powers played it short. Like most teams, Manhasset, it was an abbreviated preseason. It was so difficult for everybody. Just the mindset, as Chris Keene talked about, it got thrown all out of whack. You had the weather and the heat. There were 2 scrimmages that were canceled. Manhasset put together a non-league game against East Meadow. That's always a very good barometer test. East Meadow with several Division I bound players in the next couple of classes. But having 2 scrimmages canceled, that certainly will affect you in terms of getting chemistry or getting people back into the soccer frame of mind.
100% correct. You need those scrimmages to really be able to evaluate your players going against another team. You know, you can only do so much when they go against one another that they see every day, that they're their friends and they are in the same building and they're in the same classes. It's when they go against another face, a stranger, someone they don't know, how do they perform under that condition? And that's what those scrimmages allow coaches to do. And also, more importantly, because both teams had pretty veteran teams, gives the coach an opportunity to see who are going to be the new players that can contribute. You know what you have coming back. You don't know who the new players are.
And in the case of New Hyde Park with Megan Carey, when you're a new coach just hired in August, it gives you that much less time to evaluate who you have.
And for you to get to know the players, and for them to get to know you and what your expectations are and what you demand of the players.
But as Megan explained, you know, she's already seen a great level of soccer, having played at Adelphi. She spent the last 4 years at Massapequa coaching under one of your old pals. And Coach Stegner out there, 4 years there as the JV coach, and the Massapequa soccer culture that exists. And she jumped on this chance when talking to the athletic director, T.J. Burke, upon it being offered to her. Here's a good ball into the box, trying to turn Samantha Bravo. Bravo gets the shot off, and the save made by Trotta.
A fingertip save by Aaron. That was a nicely taken shot by Bravo with the left foot. Tell my players, go low to far, and that's a nicely taken shot. Here's the replay. Watch the left foot. She goes to the back post, and it was just a fingertip save by Trotta. Look at that. Giving up the corner kick.
Samantha Bravo off the bench, looking for her first career varsity goal. Would have been a dandy. And Trotta with 5 stops has been very busy. But to the point that Megan Carey saw when the New Hyde Park job was open, this being their 3rd different coach in 3 years, she saw that there were 11 seniors back, Aronov being verbally committed to Rutgers, and a lot of other soccer-centric players with one of the top local organizations around as Bravo picks up possession again for McGrath. The New Hyde Park Wildcats. This is a shot, and it's ticketed for the corner. Maria Poulos just let it rip. 5-0 New Hyde Park in the first half.
What a nicely taken shot by Maria Poulos. Only a sophomore, usually plays on the flank, but she hits this one first time, doesn't settle the ball. She does the right thing. Here's the ball being played across. First time hit by Poulos, and she puts it in the back of the net. Second goal of the season.
McGrath will get the assist, nudging it over to her, but Poulos, another travel soccer player with the Sousa Academy, had a goal against Bethpage. Last year, 3 goals and 2 assists, primarily starting around the midfield. Man, New Hyde Park with a season high 5 goals. And you're seeing that this Gladiators team, why they were so optimistic that they have so much besides just one really talented all Long Island potential player.
They have players that are very technical at a number of different positions, Ralph. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in AB3 without a doubt.
We presume we're in the final minute of the opening half. Again, the official time is kept on the field by our lead referee, but this has gone as great as New Hyde Park could have hoped. After these two teams tangled in the last couple of years in a regular season meeting, won last year by New Hyde Park against the playoff finalist Manhasset, and then 2 years ago, Manhasset winning a playoff quarterfinal meeting 1-0. That's the half. Manhasset would love to regroup. New Hyde Park putting together perhaps their best 40 minutes of the season. 3 goals from Julia Aronov. They've been all just terrific strikes, and the Gladiators in total command. We're coming back to show you some first half highlights and numbers on Verizon Fios 1 Sports.
I'm a veteran. We hit a mine in Vietnam. When I came home, I didn't know where to turn.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory's been never giving up hope. My wife is always there to remind me we have a life to live.
DAV provides a lifetime of support, helping veterans of every generation.
Ralph Bednarczyk with Carrie Gluck. We're going to show you the first 4 goals, and New Hyde Park especially getting the first 3 in 11 minutes before Manhasset was able to get settled in.
Well, New Hyde Park really just came right at them right from the opening whistle. And look at this opportunity here. There you see Julia Aronov, our highlight player, right from the very beginning. She really does a nice job, takes it off the right foot and follows it. But this is a superb goal. Look at that service and a full-time volley by Julia Aronov, notching her second goal early in the game for New Hyde Park. And then once again, they're just exerting pressure. Trotta coming out of the goal, and the finish by New Hyde Park by Pappas. And then the 4th goal on a dead ball restart. Look at Aronov finish that one on up to the upper 90, just under the crossbar. Trotta not able to really do much to be able to defend against that shot. So it's really been all New Hyde Park. 13-2 in the first half, with no shots on goal by Manhasset to 10 for New Hyde Park. And really, you can see that New Hyde Park came ready to play. Manhasset a little bit slow getting off the bus.
Maria Poulos had the 5th goal. That was a strike from about 35 yards to close out the scoring in the 39th minute. So for New Hyde Park, the first half could not have gone any better against a competitive program the way it did against Manhasset, leading here 5-0 against the Indians, a team that clearly appears like they're going to be a tough out in the playoffs. And Carrie, for New Hyde Park, is the only thing remaining to solve is, can they put together another good half? Because they've been a team that's played 50 strong minutes consistently, but they ran out of gas in blowing a 2-0 lead at the half to Bethpage, and didn't have a good finish either against Valley Stream North their last time out either.
I think if I was Coach Megan Carey, I would certainly bring it to their attention while I'm have them at the half. Make sure and emphasize, girls, we've got to play for 80 minutes. We've got to come out strong. Just like we did the first 40, we got to put together another 40. Let's not sit back.
And Carey, of course, is a longtime coach. How about the habits of putting together 80 minutes? How does a team get into that kind of habit where young people can play to the scoreboard regardless of whatever sport it is?
You're right, and they do play to the scoreboard. They see, I don't have to really work hard now. We're up 5-0. But I think you got to emphasize, as the season goes on, you're going to go up against teams that are going to be playing hard for 80 minutes. You have got to match that intensity. You can't afford to take your foot off the pedal. Keep your pedal to the metal and go for goal.
We're going to get an early corner kick for New Hyde Park. And Julia Aronov will take this service. And we'll get to thoughts maybe Chris Keene had at the break. And this is a low-line drive that Erin Trotta is able to handle. So if you're Manhasset, you've been a winning program with many of these players across all sports. You're not used to being in this position. What do you think he told his team at the break?
Well, if I was Coach Keene, I'm saying to the girls, all right, let's put this half behind us, girls. We have certainly played our worst 40 minutes of soccer. Let's go out now and show that we are a better team than a 5-0 deficit, that we deserve to be in this AB1, and we are better than what we've shown. Play for pride.
And Manhasset has a big game coming up in just a couple days against Southside, so preventing the carryover effect is Elizabeth Cruz. First time we've really seen her try to carry the ball, but she's a 2-year starter and one of the linchpins to this Manhasset program. As Kelly Trotta will try to go up the line looking for Allison Lane. So it looks like Manhasset is brought back in their entire starting lineup. As also good side carry number 10 in white, Olivia Dooley, starts on the field here in the second half there. Outstanding holding midfielder.
Now that's a good sign for Manhasset after seeing her leave with that not just minor injury in the first half. So good to see that we have Olivia back on the field.
She was second team All Long Island and All County last year. Back in the spring as a already 2-year starting defender for the Indians in girls lacrosse, as she's knocked down by Marina Pappas and had a little bit of a smile on her face. So very good news for the Indians moving forward. So Kelly Trotta off of a restart. Trotta started the first 2 games of the season at forward, and before the injury to Casey Roscoe, Chris Keene felt that she was the best candidate to move to center back.
And Waldron handling the ball perhaps for the first time in the match. She had no shots faced on goal in the first half by Manhasset.
And a couple for Waldron. Waldron a year ago started against Manhasset and came up with a good game, 6 saves, and a 1-0 victory. New Hyde Park also back with their starting lineup. Senior stopper Sam Corrigan.
Nice throw-in. That's a very dangerous throw-in that New Hyde Park has on the far side of the field.
Yeah, Corrigan.
That may be Corrigan taking it. She really is very impressive with that throw-in.
She had the assist carry on the Aronov first goal off of a throw. Teresa Corrigan very involved with the New Hyde Park Wildcats travel soccer program that is one of the oldest established soccer programs for both boys and girls. Been around 41 years, Carrie. This one played across by Trotta in to try to pop it in. And that opportunity by Poulos just wide of net. That ball seemed to float across the face of the goal by Maria Poulos with the left foot. And New Hyde Park could not cash it in, looking for a 6th.
That was a tremendous opportunity for the Gladiators of New Hyde Park off the flick on.
This is Cruz taking it the other way, and the shot partially blocked by Mosseri. And Waldron is able to grab it.
And that truly may be the first save for Waldron in the match. She handled it well. I like the way she went down on the ground. But here's the replay. There's a little bit of a left foot, and I thought that was a nice opportunity for the head ball. And I believe that was Quijada, who was right in on goal. Just didn't quite get her head on the ball for that chance.
From our angle, we wondered whether or not the ball might even curve in for Poulos. And eventually Quijada had the chance just from a yard out. As Quijada looked to force it ahead, Marina Pappas. And we get the whistle just before Jillian Fager made her move. Well, Poulos already with a goal. Her foot skills, as Megan Carey has noticed, her foot skills, she feels, are already to the level of a senior like Aronov's. And someone that they're starting at right outside mid or center mid at this young juncture of her career.
But not only do I think her foot skills are very competent, Ralph, I think she also plays with a lot of poise. She plays with a lot of confidence, which really is a tremendous asset for Poulos, being only a sophomore.
Playing with that Sousa Academy located in your backyard in Hauppauge. 3 goals and 2 assists last year as a freshman. And the other thing Megan Carey really noticed that a lot of young players, Carey, you and I have spoken about this so much, young players are generally not great at being good off the ball yet. And Maria Poulos is very proficient at that. Aronov will get on the end of this ball.
Aronov does a nice job chasing that one down. Look at the defensive effort, and now you see you can't allow her to turn the corner there. And it was nicely done. I think that was Tierney Harmon who might have come over and lend a little support to her defensive colleague there.
We gotta find outside minutes.
And you see, once again, here's the goal kick by Trotta. As we talk about the off-the-ball movement, which is what Coach Carey has been trying to emphasize for these girls, that has really become a critical aspect of the game for them, not to just watch their pass after they make it, but to move and get themselves into a supporting position or a position to be able to receive the ball back.
Dooley with a hard challenge on Aronov, and clearly Manhasset has stepped up their physicality. And the connection here for sophomore Nicolette Caneda, Marina Pappas. And Pappas with a hard challenge. There's Caroline Mondiello. Haven't mentioned her a lot yet, Carrie, but a verbal commitment to Stanford. And as Chris Keene says that she came back after winning the state lacrosse championship, he noticed how much confidence she played with that, and that has carried over into her senior year in soccer.
Well, it certainly will, truly help any player at any level when you have experienced the success that Manhasset has experienced winning state championships. Players on those teams bring that level of confidence from one sport to the next.
Bit of the deep throwing coming up for New Hyde Park. And generally the Indians will have anywhere in the area of about 10 players that will cross over from one sport to the, or at least from lacrosse to soccer. But the rise of, or the reemergence of soccer in this community cannot be understated, as up ahead is Cruz, and she's part of that rise. Elizabeth Cruz. Cruz with Mosseri, the defender. Cruz to cut it back, in on Waldron to try to tuck it around her, could not. Everything but the finish, and the dazzling array of foot skills from Elizabeth Cruz.
That was nicely done. Elizabeth Cruz did a very nice job, took on two defenders, beat them both, but Waldron does an excellent job, comes off her line right here, as you will see her come into your picture, and she cuts the angle for the shot by Cruz. But give credit to Elizabeth Cruz, only a junior. She did a very nice job to beating two defenders.
Came back even quicker, remarked Coach Chris Keene from last year. After running varsity track, she was the center midfield starter most of last year before moving to forward once the outstanding Hallie Palmedo came back from injury. So that's the best scoring chance of the afternoon for Manhasset. This ball chipped into some dangerous space, and a dangerous ball for Brasida Buzos, as she nearly was able to tip it around Erin Trotta, who was down. Buzos, Nicola Caneda. And a deep throw coming for New Hyde Park.
Good chance, I thought, for New Hyde Park. And if they play it back to Buzos out on that left flank, she may be able to get a service across. She had some space.
Come get it.
But either be it as it may, I think it may be even more beneficial to the fact that they have now the throw-in very deep inside the 18 with Corrigan taking it with that long throw. And they work the flick on very well. That's about the third time they've used the flick on.
In the follow-up shot, Marina Pappas, it was blocked, leading to a corner. So Trotta continues to see a lot of activity in front of her. And with the gloves on, someone's got to tie her shoe. So Maria Themelis will handle that. And particularly when the bad weather comes, the throw-ins of Corrigan are going to be so important.
And they're very dangerous. You know, you can be much more accurate at this level with your hands than you can with your feet.
There is Aronov, and challenging Erin Trotta to the short side of the corner. Second ball, looking for Caneda.
If it goes in, yes.
Kelly Trotta will touch it out, and Corrigan will get another look. 5-0 New Hyde Park. They scored 3 goals in the first 11 minutes of play, added another in the 16th, and one more late in the 39th.
Another dangerous opportunity. New Hyde Park taking the long throw-ins off with Corrigan. You really put a lot of pressure on a defender.
And she was able to whip that ball into the box on a line drive, looking for Sofia Quijada. Here comes another one.
Yeah.
This is a more narrow field than most football fields, playing here on this glass side field. So it especially makes her dangerous. This ball knocked down by Dooley.
Well, she's getting her throw-ins well past the near post, almost mid-goal, Ralph, which is very effective.
Andrea Bouzos and into her twin sister, Vrasita Bouzos. And for New Hyde Park, we'll see if it will be Corrigan time. Might be out of her range. And they'll let Andrea Bouzos handle it.
Oh.
And this is a good bouncing ball into Caneda. And Caneda shows good poise. Then the shot, and it couldn't be finished by Aronov. Pappas was looking for the cutter. I don't know if it was a design pass, but Pappas saw Aronov racing across the face of goal.
Right, that was very nicely done. There's a layback, very nice ball, played back by Bouzos. Now watch, you see there is Aronov coming into your picture. Pappas, I think, was looking to take the shot. I think it just skidded off her foot a little bit, but Aronov read it very nicely, anticipating what might have been a missed kick and almost made it a dangerous play.
I think that's what the smile from Marina Pappas was about. She had a great look at goal. Pappas 2 years ago was the third leading scorer with 6 and 6. Last year, 7 goals and 2 assists.
Too much space in the middle of the field. Manhasset's got to close down those midfielders, the central midfielders. See all the space right now? Boulos wide open.
Follow up by Quijada, and she will chip it off net. And it'll go back to a goal kick. First 15 minutes gone in the second half. And it's been a similar situation from the first half. A lot of New Hyde Park offense and pressure.
Here's a shot right here. Look at this. Taken right off the side of the head. Well done by the defender. Knocked her right down, but she got right up. Those Manhasset Indians, they are tough. Like the Timex watch. Take a licking, but keep on ticking.
And that was Kelly Trotta. And you would expect her to be that, as Chris Keene said. You know, she is so physical and strong. At times, defenders expect to foul her because she will just bounce right off of you. It's very difficult to officiate players that are that physically strong. Same in lacrosse as an attacker.
You're right.
As in the 8-meter, Kelly Trotta is a handful.
Absolutely. And officials begin to start to pick up on that too, and they don't necessarily call the foul when in fact they very well might from any other player.
As Caneda looks to win it along the sideline for New Hyde Park. And we'll have a chance for subs on both sides, with Manhasset finally forcing the ball out and preventing a Corrigan throw. Kendall Sims will leave. Hasn't been able to get the amount of touches, I think, in this first half that Manhasset, for them to be successful, need from her.
You're absolutely right. They never really had any opportunity to get the ball to her feet, except for maybe once or twice. But nothing really developed off of those opportunities, and they've got to get her into the match. She's got to get touches on the ball.
Corrigan. And look at this throw, and then the flick on by Caneda almost is able to send it through for Maria Poulos.
New Hyde Park takes Aronov off the field, puts Poulos in, and she's almost just as effective going forward.
Andrea Bouzos. And this one will find Erin Trotta. So New Hyde Park has put together quite the day against Floral Park. They played on the turf, slow start, and they played a very good defensive game to win their opener. As this is a shot off goal from Ellie Taylor wide. So Taylor came off the bench in that Wantagh game, scored 3, and has earned herself some playing time on this deep Manhasset team. But against Bethpage, great first half for New Hyde Park like today. And then the last 15 minutes, they got tired, and they couldn't finish it off. And their last time out against Valley Stream North, that was a very physical game. Here is Cruz, and Cruz nearly got through ahead of Mosseri, and Elizabeth Cruz, second time she's gotten through the defense with some good dribbling.
And then Joanna Mosseri just does a nice job cleaning things up in the back. As well she should in her position. That's her responsibility. She's got to step up when someone looks to come through.
Taylor looked to chip in. And back to a goal kick for New Hyde Park. Joanna Mosseri, while Andrea Waldron has had her as an anchor, as a 4-year starting sweeper. And when preseason began, she was the one that was leading this New Hyde Park team in all the fitness, all the drills. She, along with Waldron, is the voice of things in the back. Cruz. And Cruz was looking for the service.
Does a nice job taking it to the outside, looking to get it to the flank area, Ralph. The service she's got to open up that hip to get a more effective service coming across the 18.
Mosseri short on the goal kick. It'll find its way at the top of the box, and this one will be deflected out by Mosseri for a Manhasset corner.
Now, if I'm Waldron, I'm going to tell her, when I call the ball, you better let it go. You gave up a corner kick there. That should have been an easy ball for Waldron to handle, and I would hope that Andrea Waldron would have called that ball loud enough for Mosseri to stay off it.
Nicole Polano was in front for Manhasset.
This is the first corner for Manhasset.
And Cruz had the service. Dooley on the second corner of the day for Manhasset, and it's New Hyde Park. Harmon to connect with Ellie Taylor. Touched out by Caroline Mondiello. New Hyde Park, all 5 goals in the first half.
Oh, well done. Under the pressure. Again, they gave Manhasset gave too much room in the midfield to Maria Poulos. They've got to mark her tight. They've got to know that she is a talented player. They've got to mark her, I think, a little bit tighter, and they're giving her too much space.
We'll get a foul against Versita Buzos. So as we were touching on Megan Carey, what a already fascinating young career she has had as a coach. After coming out of Island Trees High School, where she was a defender playing for Andy Schneider, Phil Goldberg. Then she goes to Adelphi, and her last 2 years there was coached by Chris Armas, who is now the New York Red Bulls head coach, who made a big jump from Division II women's soccer to Major League Soccer. And Megan Carey, back in 2013, that fall was a graduate assistant under Chris Armas. Took a lot from that, as well as her 4 years as the JV coach working under the outstanding Bruce Stegner at Massapequa. Talked about how Bruce really instills confidence in players is something she took from him as a young coach. And also that everybody has a spot. Everybody has a role to star in their roles. To paraphrase some of the things she learned as a new coach as now she undertakes her first varsity head job.
Well, she's had some very excellent mentors in her background. Not to forget the first 2 years at Adelphi when she played for Rich Ilsley, my good friend over at Adelphi. Rich and I go back quite some time, and he's an outstanding coach and had tremendously successful years over at Adelphi with the women's program.
Chris Armas now at the MLS level, and the thing she took from him that I thought was significant was that I feel like the coaches made us better players at Adelphi, better teammates, trusting your teammates and being accountable for your hard work, especially through fitness, are some of the things that really stood out to her as she is now applying as a first-time varsity head coach.
Well, those are all excellent characteristics to instill in your team, without a doubt, Ralph. And as I said, she's had some excellent mentors over the course of her career as a player.
This ball up the sideline, Sophia Quijada. And New Hyde Park, more great ball movement, but this is offsides with Caneda well in the offside position.
Now Nicolette Caneda getting a little bit too anxious to get forward there, the young sophomore, but I think I like the aggressive play by New Hyde Park, and I like the style and going forward.
Trot on the goal kick. And I think the more subtle, unique aspect of Megan Carey's coaching upbringing, Carey, is that the last couple of years as she was coaching JV girls soccer, but she's had other opportunities doing track at Westbury Middle School. And she got thrown into coaching varsity baseball of all sports. Spring of 2017 at Springfield Gardens High School in Queens, the JV girls basketball at Westbury. So I think
she may have been the only female baseball coach that I've in New York State.
Perhaps, but it certainly tells you just about her character and the desire to learn through many different experiences towards, of course, the goals of likely coaching soccer at a high level.
Well, it doesn't make a difference what sport you're coaching. You instill in these young players experiences that are going to be life experiences, and no matter what level you're at or what sport it is, those life experiences carry through forever.
Manhasset has had a couple of scoring chances in this second half as New Hyde Park looks to put together their first shutout of the season. And it will be a loud statement one when the rest of Nassau County coaches take a look at the score. As this one is drilled in by Ellie Taylor, looking to get Kendall Sims a run, and could not connect with her. New Hyde Park has had the possession advantage overwhelmingly going back to the early minutes, and a couple of early finishes set the tone.
Well, this is the best that Manhasset has played all day in the last 10 and 15 minutes or so. They've really started to exert perhaps a little bit more pressure than they have done up to this point. So I'm glad to see that, they are continuing to work hard to try and put something up on the board.
And as coaches will talk about, try to win the second half. As Montiello with Marina Pappas, two very physical players. And we'll get the whistle, and maybe we'll get a talking to, perhaps a little extra. It'll be Pappas that the official is talking to, not Montiello. So just a stern warning at this juncture.
And I think that's handled well by the official. There's aggressive play here, but I think the official handled it very nicely, talking and keeping things under control. You don't always have to use the yellow or the red to keep a game under control. Some verbal communication equally is effective.
Gary, last time you and I were here in New Hyde Park, it was 2 years ago. We saw Marina Pappas. We want to speak about toughness. Mm-hmm. She scored 2 goals that day, Gary. It was a 5-1 victory over Jericho. Pappas scored a goal and then essentially It was a bang-bang play on a head ball. Pappas finished it and then had a head-to-head collision, head-on-head collision with the Jericho goalie. So she finished the play and still was just able to kind of get through the play.
Absolutely, and that shows her determination and her hard work and her effort. She is not to be denied as a player. And I'm probably going to say New Hyde Park might like us coming more frequently, since the 2 times we've been here, they put 5 goals up on the board.
You know what? We'll have to mention something to the athletic director, our pal TJ Burke. So you're absolutely right, and on 2 separate fields. But this certainly on paper appeared to be a very good non-league showdown for 2 programs that expect to be in the playoffs, with Manhasset playing in the ability-based AV1, the best league among the mid-sized schools in Nassau County. New Hyde Park playing in the 3rd or the last league there. But as Chris Keene says, you know, everybody, we're expected to win because we're in the Power League. And we have the mindset now where we've played in the Power League for a 4th straight year as their program has continued to rise and always has great depth. But he likes scheduling this kind of game because New Hyde Park could be a type of lower-seeded team that you might see in the first round of the playoffs or the quarterfinals like they did 2 years ago. That gives you a real test. Well, for Chris Keene, he spent 5 great years as an assistant coach to Lauren McGorry before taking over now in year 6. And he has seen this incredible renewed soccer culture that he gives a lot of credit to the classes of 2017 and 18 with. He can't say enough thanks to all the people that reached out to him, the messages and calls just for reaching the county final last year, losing a good game to North Shore 4-2. Imagine if they had won the game, what would have happened.
And that was a very good North Shore team.
A great North Shore team with several Division I players on it. And they had even more players come out and try out for the team. Just in recent time, Manhasset has actually made cuts. And there was a time when Chris Keene was an assistant that they had no cuts, and they had as many as 7 freshmen on the roster. Now they've only had 3 freshmen total make the varsity in his 6 years. So it's been a meteoric rise in terms of soccer getting or re-emerging in a lacrosse hotbed of a community.
And which is not necessarily an easy thing because of the success of the girls lacrosse program as well as the boys. Getting the players to come over to soccer and then buy into his program, which he has obviously had some nice success in getting these young ladies.
And that dangerous word, the buzzword of specialization that pops up, where you have on one hand, college coaches in particular want multi-sport athletes, but the club people...
Much to the dismay of a lot of parents.
Yes, and while the parents and club people want to emphasize one sport, the sooner the better. And the tug of war in the mix is the student athlete.
That's correct. And Manhasset is well represented by multi-sport athletes, and the athleticism of so many of their players is evident on the field.
Pappas with a good ball, Maria Poulos, as she tried to return it to Julia Aronov, and it will be in the hands of Erin Trotta. But the sign of the passion that exists now in the girls soccer community in Manhasset is there. They had to cut 10 players through tryouts this year that had never happened to that high of a number. And to the outside of space for Mary Langen, the right back. Tierney Harmon back through the middle of the field. And Allison Lane. Haley Roflin. Manhasset trying to get one and win the second half. Mosseri, as always, there to clean up. Space for Nicolette Caneda. And a good hard step forward and challenge for Manhasset. That's Angie Macchio that read the play.
I thought she, as a defender, Macchio did a very nice job stepping on that one, because had she not, it was going to be an easy opportunity for Nicolette Caneda to get that ball under control and then start an attack for New Hyde Park. So that was a good step. Defensively, I think you see where Manhasset is right now. In the first half, you remember I pointed out the space between their forwards and the midfield. Now they are much more compact, and they are making it a little bit more difficult. They've taken away the space for New Hyde Park to play the ball through the midfield. And they also have changed the formation slightly, which I think has really affected the game for Manhasset, where they started the first half with 5 midfielders and one player up top, that being Kendall Sims. They've now really converted almost to 3 forwards up top to try and see if they can put something up on the board. And I think that was well done by Manhasset. You got to throw players forward.
This is Trotta to handle. Under Chris Keene, they've been a 4-4-2, but they've tinkered with the flat 4 back. And that's where the injury to Casey Roscoe especially affects them. And Roscoe is a 3-year starting center back / holding midfielder in her career. And they were considering going stopper sweeper, but always tough to lose someone, especially in that central area, as Aronov had the pass and she nearly led Marina Pappas beautifully into the box. Lane, and she had Haley Rofling out wide. Final 6.5 minutes or so. Clock again is official only on the field, but we were pretty close to it with our clock compared to what they have on the field. And this is a strike that sails across, and bidding for a goal, Samantha Bravo. She had a great chance in the first half that Erin Trotta made a great save on.
And here's a nice little left foot. And that ball might have curled in a little bit. If she had it with a little bit more bend on it, she might have hit that back post.
That goal is coming for her. You could just see Samantha Bravo, especially being a left-footed player. Megan Carey immediately noticed how aggressive she is when it comes to shooting the ball. Another deep throw, and she may get another opportunity with Kelly Trotta putting that one to the sideline.
That long throw puts defenders under immediate kind of pressure, and it forces a defender not to make any missed kick, as we saw there for Kelly Trotta. She just didn't handle that bounce real well, and she gave up another throw in deep.
And Corrigan is going to exit, perhaps for the final time, as she will give to Bridget Slasky. A backup outside back that will come in, a junior. And Manhasset Carey, they will have a very short time to try to turn this around, this bad feeling that they'll have following the game, because they have to take on Southside in less than 48 hours. And wherever Southside is, whether they're really up as a program, it's become so much more competitive with other programs, at least making it not be an easy walk in the park as it had been throughout the 90s, most of the 2000s for Southside, with Garden City, Wantagh especially improving, and now North Shore, a new champion. You see what Manhasset's emergence has. This is a good ball to the front, nearly finished, but they'll have less than 48 hours to get themselves ready for that kind of a game against another super technically sound program.
Well, you know Southside is never down. So, I mean, they are always competitive. They're always going to be in the mix. You know they're always going to be in the tournament, and they are always dangerous. So right now, if I'm Coach Keene, I would like to get some of my starters out and start to let them get a little bit of, get their legs back and hope that they're ready to go in 48 hours. That's not a long time. And, you know, to be able to recover physically and emotionally from a game that you got shut out up to this point.
This is a good ball, and the save made by Waldron. Andrea Waldron has not been tested much today, but she was there as Amy Royer got a great feed from inside the box. A good strike that Waldron knocks down.
And that was an excellent save and a very good strike. There you see the shot by Royer, but look where Waldron is coming out on that one. Does a really great job to be able to come up with the save.
Megan Grace Peterson, the shooter, after the layoff from Royer, but Waldron, that's her second credited save. The other one was an in-tight look that was deflected. This one was a real challenge.
And this one keeps the shutout.
So Manhasset has had a couple of high-quality scoring chances in the second. And the only thing in doubt is whether or not the 0 will stay there. And for New Hyde Park, what a confidence-building game this might be. They'll jump into league play, and there are some quality programs in AB3, even though it's not the best power league, but Island Trees has sent numerous players to college recently. Wheatley, the same thing, even though they're, I think, the smallest school in AB3. And some space for Bridget Slosky. Down the middle, Manhasset. And look at the layoff, and that looks like that is going to be Royer with the shot as it bounces up on Waldron here with about 2 minutes to go.
Took that little hop on her at the last moment, and Waldron, as she should do as a goalkeeper, get your body behind the ball.
And you just never know on a grass field, handled well. As Trotta.
You hit the nail on that one. On a grass field, especially that's torn up and chewed up a little bit after rain. Some weird hops.
Grace Peterson tried to cut through after the good long run was made by Emma Toes. A great-looking sophomore player. That's a backup forward right now with super speed from Manhasset. The entry again into Toes. This is Angie Macchio. Is Macchio from distance shooting, and Waldron will cover it up. And it took a little bit of a skip, but too close to not handle.
Waldron again coming up nicely and covering that ball, getting her full body behind the ball, and then not giving up a rebound off of a ball that, as you said, took a little bit of a skip on her. She's handled the last two very nicely.
We'll get a foul against New Hyde Park. One more restart perhaps for Manhasset. And this should be Kelly Trotta. It appears like indeed it will be. Trotta with great power. And a goal against Wantagh. And Trotta, this one has to be punched out by Waldron, and the rebound carried out. Well, Trotta really tested her. Waldron, who had a comfortable afternoon for most of it, but not here in the last couple of minutes.
Last couple of minutes, Manhasset has really been putting on some pressure, and Waldron has risen to the occasion. That was a nicely taken ball by Trotta for Manhasset, and Waldron does a very nice job getting her hands on the ball and giving a little bit of a rebound opportunity to Manhasset, but makes sure that ball goes over the end line off the Manhasset player.
We should be in the final minute, according to our clock, and indeed we are. No corner, by the way, on that last save by Waldron, but she had to make 4 in the final 3 minutes. New Hyde Park, an impressive statement victory. They shut out last year's county finalist Manhasset 5-0 today, and the Gladiators appear like they're going to be a real threat in the playoffs as a likely double-digit seed, and one that is going to be very difficult to knock out. We're coming back with our post-game reaction from the field and our final thoughts on Verizon Fios One Sports.
It does not take an extraordinary person to make a difference.
With their service to the nation.
Affecting both men and women. Screening helps find colorectal cancer.
Finalists from a year ago today, Julia Aronov with 3 first-half goals. As the senior made her return to the New Hyde Park program this year, she's on the field with Carrie Gluck.
Julia, you played last year with Albertson. You didn't play with the New Hyde Park Gladiators. What made you come back to New Hyde Park this year?
Well, I've been on the team since I was in 8th grade, and it was really hard giving up high school for the academy, but it was a great choice at the end of the day, and I knew that for my senior year I'd love to come back, and being able to come back has just been a great experience so far.
As we talk about that, what has been the chemistry now between you and the other players, having not played with them for 2 years? How easy has it been?
Well, we mended right away. Like, we've been doing really well. We do a lot of stuff on and off the field to help our team chemistry for game day, and we've been doing really well with it.
What do you see as the upside of this team now? You've taken on an AB1 team in Manhasset 5-0. What do you see as the upside for this Manhasset team, for this New Hyde Park team?
Well, this was a big game for us. It was kind of a deciding factor on how we're going to see the season, and we came out really strong, had a great opponent, and we're really happy with the outcome of the game.
So this was a pretty big game for New Hyde Park, taking on this kind of a team. Talk about the defense coming up with the shutout today.
Well, we play a stopper-sweeper defense, and it's been working really well for us. And yeah, and our outsides come and attack, help the attack out. We're playing a 4-5-1, which is a more defensive-minded team, but we can obviously come and attack as well. So we've been doing really well defensively and offensively.
Well, you sure played well today. Congratulations to the team, and hope they continue their good play.
Yes, thank you.
And back to you, Ralph.
Julia Aronov with 3, Marina Pappas and Maria Poulos the other goals for New Hyde Park in an impressive finish today as they carried over a lot of their first half momentum into a strong second. And Manhasset, they have a tough one next against Southside, but two teams that are bound for the playoffs meeting today, and it was New Hyde Park that made the loud statement. That's it for our entire crew here from New Hyde Park. This game was produced by Frank Squandro, directed by Dan Lippenholtz, and from a partner, Carrie Gluck. I'm Ralph Benoitchik saying so long and goodbye. You've been watching Long Island High School girls soccer on Verizon Fios One Sports.
This has been a special presentation of Verizon Fios One Sports.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children she didn't know